in tech. It's a topic that has kind of been submerged in the past, and I actually just came back from Qatar last night, and I was very excited to see a women in tech division there as well. It's becoming more and more put in the limelight. I remember when I first joined crypto in 2017, there was a stat that only 5% of Bitcoin holders were women. And that was quite appalling. And I made it my mission then to spread the word and let more women know about the tech and to benefit the industry by inviting more women. So with that being said, I'd love to start off with a couple of introductions. My name is Nikita Sachdev. I'm the CEO of Luna Media Corporation. We house 7 different companies. Our bread and butter is Luna PR. It's an award-winning PR agency. We're headquartered here in Dubai with offices in Miami, Singapore, and London. We have a team of almost 100 employees now. We've scaled very quickly in the last 3 years. And I'm proud to say that I have a female predominant team. 9 out of the 10 executives in my firm are women by accident, not on purpose. This is about inclusion, but the team, having women in the team have been very valuable. So with that being said, we'd love for you guys to also give introductions, and then we can start off with the panel questions.
So my name is Lamise Negm. I have been working in the banking career for quite some time, but I decided to make a career shift. I moved from being a banker to being a person who really, I work with my passion. I'm giving to the kids, to the students. I started just going out with the people responsible for the CSR team. So I found that it's more passionate. The impact, you feel it on the spot. It's not that you're gonna please a company or please a chairman or a CFO in a big institution, but it's having an impact on the ground, on a child, on a female, on a woman, on a son or whatever. I really felt that this is more rewarding and more giving. So I made all this kind of career shift. I moved on 2008. I was that time in Citibank for Egypt. And I stayed there till 2015, and then I resigned for family issues. Then later on, the central bank governor decided to start the CSR unit in the central bank for Egypt, where each and every bank has got their own mandate, and they have been working each one on his own agenda, but he's decided to really form that all the banks would just be unified under one umbrella, and they cooperate together for the well-being of the country. And I started in the Central Bank of Egypt 2017 till October 2023. Then I decided that I would fly, helping so many NGOs. I'm working with them. I'm on their board, but I'm working with a lot of people, mental illness, empowering youth, empowering women. So I'm very happy to be on this role. Thank you.
So I'm next. Hi, Nikita. Hi, everyone. My name is Anna De, and I've been working in FinTech for almost 10 years now, a little while with PayPal, and 3 years ago, I joined Meta. I've been working on consumer payment experiences in our family of apps, so WhatsApp, Instagram, and Facebook. I most recently transitioned to supporting advertiser growth, focusing on ads billing experiences. I'm French and Senegalese. I live in California now, and I'm excited to be here in Dubai with this amazing group for an exciting panel. So thanks for having me.
Good morning. Hello, everyone. First of all, I'm very excited to be among a lot of smart people and a lot of prominent women on stage. So thank you for having me on stage with you ladies. My name is Yasmine Helal. I'm the CEO and MD of Adi Consumer Finance. And yesterday we were very fortunate to receive 2 awards for excellence in Islamic finance, as well as Fintech startup. I worked in the banking sector for 22 years, and then I ended my banking career as the head of strategy for Fintech and innovation at the central bank. And then I moved to kick off the company, ADCF, or Taka, as we call it commercially. And during this journey, there's a lot of learning across my career of how women grow. I'm a computer science major, so I started as a programmer. And now I stand before you offering this Islamic solution. So there's a lot of stages that one has went through, and I'm very happy and excited to share with you this experience. Yeah. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm also very happy to be here. I'm Lebanese of origin. I'm an academic by career. And my research in applied mathematics and political economy gradually took me into the tech field, to digital transformation, working with public sector, and recently into the fintech. And I have founded several companies, one in fintech, one in public sector reform, and CoorB, which is the fintech firm.
Amazing. Super inspirational panel already, and we haven't even begun yet. So, for my first question, I want to talk a little bit about the cultural perceptions in this region. I'm from Texas. I moved here 3 years ago, and I moved here because the Middle East had so much to offer, and not a lot of people knew that, especially in Texas, where I'm from. So when I told my friends and family in Texas that I want to move to Dubai, they were like, first of all, you're a woman in tech. Second of all, you're going to the Middle East. And I was like, what does that even mean? And funny enough, what inspired me to move to the Middle East was that in 2018, I was asked to join a panel in Oman. And I spoke to a room full of women developers, and they were really pushing the initiative there. They were not just talking the talk, they were walking the walk. And I loved that about Oman. It changed my perception completely. So to what extent do cultural perceptions play a role in in bringing women, in attracting women to the industry, to the fintech industry here in the Middle East?
Well, during my career for women empowerment, I would say that yes, it's a big challenge, and especially coming from the Middle East. One of my experience that one of the banks really helps the ladies for their talent, where they have a handcraft, they have something. And in Egypt, there are the suburbs where in Upper Egypt or whatever, ladies hardly go to school or learn something. And they picked up a girl, what she was doing a handcraft, something called macramia. She does it with threads or whatever, and she does a lot of things with it. But normally the bank goes and gives training and whatever. And her father decided that no way on earth that she will move to Cairo to get this kind of training, not with her brother, not with anything. So the bank the staff went there for her, and they started training her what to do or not to do, how to price her piece of craft, and how to package it, and how to do each and everything. The father could not believe, the bank is coming for you. What are you doing? But this was a kind of an empowerment. Now the girl moved to Cairo. Her father is the CFO for the company. This was a few years back. And she's having with her over 70 ladies. She insisted, she had a goal, she had a motivation, she insisted that she would take it to an extra mile. She moved to Cairo with her brother. The father is handling the financials of the company. And she's everywhere. She's everywhere in any exhibition, and she's very well known, Mariam Makramiya. This is the craft she does. So when really the woman wants, she will make it, and she will get there. But it is about encouraging herself, taking care of herself, and she was a standalone.
That's so true. I feel like women have something to prove a little bit more, but especially in emerging nations, in some emerging nations where there's a stigma that maybe women are just meant to be housewives a little bit. It kind of pushes you to prove to everyone that actually, no, we'll do even better.
I'd like to reflect what Mrs. Lamise just mentioned. At a point of time in my career, I was in the technology, and I was managing the ATMs. I would go to an ATM and actually fix it. And this is something was very odd for a woman to go or a female to go and to be technically competent and do it. It's simply that you always have to prove that you're competent. You have to prove that you're skilled. I'm very amused and impressed by you, by having 9 of your executives women, and I love that that's by coincidence, because it proves that it's not, you're not just hiring women because they're women. You're hiring because they are capable and qualified and competent to do the job, not because of just being diversity, but because they are competent to fulfill the job. So I think this is something that we always fall into. You have to prove yourself.
And you know what the funny part is? That even till today, when people come to my office and they see me, my husband is in the same industry. In fact, my husband moderated the first panel, Philip Lord, he's sitting right there. And the amount of times that people will come to me and say, oh, so you're the CEO and Philip is the owner of the company, right? And I'm like, where does that come from? Why that stigma? You know, and it happens a lot, more so than you think.
I would love to add up a little more and just like share my thoughts about how culture impacts ability of women to join fintech or tech companies. And I love to flip the narrative a little bit because, to your point, many times people would have like preconceptions about in the Middle East, in Africa, women won't be encouraged to go in this type of careers. But in reality, so I'm a Muslimah as well, and what we learn from an early age is iqra. So really, like, you need to learn, you need to deep dive, and you also need to be perseverant. So if you take all these skills and you just like keep at it, I think it actually aligns very much with what's required for any women or any men to be successful in our industry. So yeah, that's a slightly different view.
Yeah, I have some thoughts here. Thinking about the Middle East is a place where family matters, relation matters, human beings matter. We're still in these organic social relations, which are very important. And women, actually, I don't see the stigma. I see a big opportunity always ahead of women in the Middle East, and I've always felt it. Because women, when they're in leadership role, they bring these elements that are needed in the culture in the Middle East. They bring the care, the mentorship, the inclusivity, the care for the risk management, for the brand, for the ethics, for the governance. So I think the approach of the women in the leadership of a company is exactly what is needed in the Middle East culture. And it's very often very well welcomed. I have a lot of men who are my partners, and they value a lot what I bring because they're more focused on the business, the competition, and this aspect of thing. Whereas I always come and bring these other things and put them on the table, and they value this a lot. So I think we need to look at this more into an opportunity. And I think there's a huge potential for women to go and give what they have in the Middle Eastern culture.
So let's elaborate on that point a little bit. You said that the men value what you bring to the table. Apart from just simple inclusiveness, that look, we have female on our board, females on our board. What do women actually bring to the table that's unique?
I'd like to build on what the professor said and highlight that there's a lot of talents that a female mindset or a woman can bring into the business. Always known that men are the hunters and women are the carers. If you want to have a team, if you want to have a robust company that all do together, you need a woman. For one good reason, you have a lot of talents or skills like empathy, like emotional intelligence. I'm sure men do have that as well, but not as intense as women, because this is like a genetic element where women are created to sense and understand and have this risk element and have this governance element and have this empathetic and inclusion element that helps a lot in building and forming a team. And the team, if you have a good team, you have a successful and a boosting business. So business and results are simply is the other side of the equation.
I think the approach to management and leadership is slightly different, and maybe men are more sensitive to breakthrough, innovation, competition, being at the edge on the market. When usually I see on our teams, those who are doing the R&D and opening new pathways are very often men. But on the other side, the women is about the management of the team, the caring for the team morale, for the brand, for the ethic, for the processes, for the whole relationship within the organization and the attention to the detail. I think usually, and that's why we have a lot of women who very quickly move from software engineering or AI engineering to management, project management positions. So there is a slight difference in the perspective and the approach between men and women. They complement each other. And this is where I think women can bring an added value.
And there was also one thing that we have to know very well. Women are very well known for multitasking. A lady would do more than a task in the same time, and all of them are very well done. She can manage the office, manage her team, manage the house, how the kids are being taken care of, manage each and everything. I'm out of experience. A man would just fix or focus on one task. If he has got so many things, you feel that he's in a mess. But a woman, out of experience, that they are very known for being multitasks, and they do it very well. When they want to achieve, they will excel.
I love how we're all excited to speak. We're all like attempting to to take the mic. So wanted to echo what my fellow panelists just shared about emotional intelligence. I saw a few smiles from men in the room, but it's not only our opinion, right? There is data out there, and like women generally score higher on areas such as self-awareness, self-regulation, empathy. There's this study that got shared that showed like 7% higher scored for women, so +1 to that one. If you look at the complex organizations in which we all operate, at the end, a team or an org is just like a set of multiple individuals that come with their own emotions. So being able to pick weak signals is definitely something that women bring to the table. And in addition, fintech is also a sector which bears lots of risks, right? Like you have the usual suspects, operational risks, competitive risk, but there is technology, regulatory, financial risk. So risk everywhere. And it's known that women are more risk adverse. So it's a good thing to have people who take a step back and take the time to assess what the risk is, anticipate, measure it, build a mitigation path. That's also something that I believe women are uniquely positioned to bring for a better organization efficiency.
That's very true. Have you guys heard of the 6-minute mile? It was basically a couple of years ago, decades ago, but in the 1900s, there was nobody that could run 1 mile in 6 minutes. And somebody came forth and said, I'm going to try. And there were doctors that came forth and said, if you run a mile in 6 minutes, your heart will burst and you will die. And people lived in this fear, like, we cannot run in a mile in 6 minutes, until someone did it. And eventually, everyone's done it. It's a 6-minute mile. Athletes train to do it all the time. It's normal. They train you in school today. It's kind of someone that sets the bar, that kind of drives you. And 3 years ago, when I got engaged, my family kept pushing me, you need to get married now. Like, you're in your 30s, Nikki. The typical Indian mom. And I told my mom, listen, I'm in business. I'm growing, I'm scaling. I'm from 5 employees to 100. Like, I'm laser focused. I cannot get distracted. Until one day I saw this lady, Whitney Wolfhard. She was a CEO of Bumble. And she made headlines everywhere in the news for ringing the NASDAQ bell with a baby on her hip. And I was like, Wow, she rang the NASDAQ bell, first billion-dollar self-made company with a baby on her hip. That's inspirational. For me, she set the bar. So what can we do to bring more mentorship, more inspiration? Who needs to set the bar? How do we set the bar?
I just want to add a little comment while you turn your microphone on. I think the balance between the family and the work is a lot of fun. And if you know how to set it up with your kids, it's amazing. They start to understand it and play on it and learn from it. I remember on one of my birthdays, my daughters, I have 3 girls, they offered me a cup, and it was written on the cup, "Who are these kids and why are they calling me mom?" So you can see a bit the sense of humor that they get out of this. But at the end of the day, they look up to you, they learn from you, they see you performing, and this is part of education. So, setting the example. And you realize that you can spend an hour of very high quality time with your kids. It's much better than spending, 8 hours and low quality times. So I think, the whole family and work balance is more an opportunity again, rather than, a burden for the mom and for the kids.
First, Nikita reminded me of Cher when her mom told her, "You need to marry a rich man." She's like, "Mom, I'm a rich man." Okay, I'll tell you a short story, and then I'll reflect on mentorship. 2002, that was my first job, a programmer at Citibank. And the first assignment I took was to build a MIFT application for transaction verification. And the person who was the head of that department was Mrs. Lamise. Yes.
This was in my banking career.
Yes. Fast forward, Mrs. Lamise is a board member of the company that I'm leading now. Setting the bar, I'm living it, a point of reference. The program that I've developed for Mrs. Lamise's department, I got a global award then in Citibank, and it was deployed in 6 countries. And 3 years ago, we built the board. Mrs. Lamise is with me, and she's here with me to cheer for me while receiving the company award. And in 2017, there was, so what I'm trying to tell you, Lamise has been my mentor and my role model and my benchmark for so long. And you hear from her introduction, she's a very accomplished woman, and she put a stop for a while for a family reason for her career. She shifted her priorities and went back and excelled as the advisor of the central bank governor of Egypt. And now she put that on hold and went to a more impactful and passionate job that she chose to support people in NGOs. That was through observation all these years. Yet there was a program was launched 2017, picking 200 women in the market, in the banking sector, and put them under a mentoring program to see. Lamise was one of the mentors, as well as other technocratic women, to tell their stories and tell to every woman who has a leadership career and a future that it can happen. It happens, and it did, and you can succeed. And all of them are highly accomplished women, very happy family, they have their families and they have their children, or not. But yet, they made it possible and available for other women to see that it's not an easy ride and it's okay. It's okay. And everyone, after this program, I can tell you, they led the market in different areas. So, yes.
I'm happy to add up as well. I think that setting the bar high needs to come with a lot of authenticity. Because, it's not easy, neither for men nor for women, right? Having a career while having a family, it's a lot of hard work. And when you're in a conversation with someone who's more senior than you and who acknowledges that in front of you and shows their weakness and how they overcame them, or challenges more than weaknesses, I think is very powerful. And I remember a time when I had a short phone call, like 15-minute phone call with a woman who's now the CMO of a top 500 company in the US, and she shared her struggles with me, and they were very similar to mine. And then I realized that actually it's possible to be very successful with very high expectations at work, and that I'll get there too. So yeah, authenticity is key.
Check. Wow, I'm still in awe with the story that you mentioned. So, speaking of inclusivity, how can we? This panel is about fintech and tech. So, how can we? How does technology drive this kind of inclusiveness of women? And what are you guys doing in particular? I mean, the fact that you're here today already speaks volumes. But what are your organizations doing to involve more women in fintech?
Women in fintech, basically the fintech industry in general, it's simply an access point and easiness to do your needs, your value added service, your payments. So for women, you're offering the solutions for them in order to run their business, to find ways to make their life easy, to the level of offering an application. And even offering the way of working itself, where you can work, it's all what you need is your brains in order to fulfill the job with the new environmental and all pandemics and all that. The concept of remote accessibility for fulfilling a business has changed. And now it's more accessible for a woman to run her house, to run the family, to run whatever other personal elements along with her business and having her flexibility. That's through fintech, not through multinationals or formal organizations who follow the conventional element. So fintech does not only bring the technology, but also brings the culture and the environment that's more suitable for women to excel and prove themselves. There's a lot, as for example, the lady that Mrs. Lamise was mentioning, she was in the suburb and she had cultural constrictions to go to the capital to do her business. That would do her business when she have the payment facilities to expand her business, to her collection, and so on and so forth. So it's freedom, I would call it.
Yeah, I'm happy to share a little more about what we do to get more women into tech or fintech. So both finance and technology are a bit intimidating for girls or women whom we know don't necessarily go with STEM type of careers, right? Science, technology, engineering, and math. So for women who are already in the company, you can transition like between organizations, right? Like you start with a different core business, and then you join, let's say, Meta FinTech, right? After having attending some women's circles or mentorship programs. So that's one thing that we do. Another thing is that we also go on road shows at colleges and universities. I'm also an engineer by background, so I can relate to them as well. And that's as simple as that, just showing up in the world for people to realize that, yeah, it's totally doable and it's actually pretty exciting.
That's incredible. I think even just small initiatives go a long way. For example, at Luna PR, my company, we've built and don't laugh, we've built a nanny room. Wow. We've built a room for the women in our firm who have kids to be able to bring their kids and just relax that, there's someone who's going to look after them. We have,
actually something to admire, because all her energy now is focused on the business, not worrying about her children that she doesn't know who's taking care of. So actually it's very smart.
I did this because we have a young team, a lot of babies in the firm, and my head of admin recently had a baby, and I realized how much I need her. And what's stopping her from coming to work is being away from her baby. So I said, you know what? I'm going to do this for you. We're going to have a nanny room so that you can come to work and be more comfortable. So I think it's gone a long way with my team.
I just would like to add, this works very well. I was just in a visit in a company, it's a medical company called Eva in Egypt. They're starting to do all kinds of things. So I went to the factory to visit. I found out that they are making a place for all the women to bring their kids, and also the elder ones, they grown up and they went to school. They go to school, they bring them back to the factory where they would have lunch and somebody to support them study until the mommy is done with her job, and she takes them and she goes home. But this is really very good, and it's more impactful on the company as they are. The company, it's not only medicine, it's also products for the women and the face. For they have a lot of female who's working there. For it is making a lot of a difference, and it is helping the women in work and in business.
It's like an employee loyalty program.
So women in fintech, I think there are two aspects. One of them is the one that's being raised is the facility of the work itself, because it's a change from the traditional bank environment, which is more physical, more demanding to a certain extent, whereas the fintech is more agile. You work remotely and you can integrate very easily. So it makes work and intensive work more accessible to women. But there's the other aspect also, is that the fintech is an innovative and fast, very fast, extremely fast growing environment. And I'm wondering, I mean, maybe women are a change agent, can be a change agent. They can help to shift this innovation. They do have the courage to do the shift, but they also have the ability to bring the quality and the awareness about the importance of the quality in this change. I think the biggest risk in the innovation and the fast pace of the fintech is quality, and is being able to do things that are solid. Sometimes in technology, when you roll out too quickly, you put things at risk. So maybe women can be successful naturally in the fintech because of the nature of the speed, the balance of the speed and the quality that is needed in the fintech.
Absolutely.
And there's also a lot of room for creativity, which is often like tagged as a female trait, right? And so you can definitely have a lot of fun, like in fintech, just based on what you shared in terms of agility, speed of change, flexibility.
For sure. I mean, if scientifically and psychologically, women bring a lot to the table. And the panels on women in fintech are not about promoting women should run the world. It's about inclusiveness. I think that's the bottom line, is equality and inclusiveness. And that's the most important part. I believe.
I want to add one more comment. Maybe not only in fintech, but in different sectors, women being a new entrant because their percentage is increasing in the field is an opportunity, because they're entering the field and they're entering with a blank page, with a fresh, with a fresh eye, and that is an interesting also opportunity.
Massive, yeah, massively. So I think we've run out of time. We have maybe 5 minutes or less for questions, maybe 1 or 2 questions. If anybody has, I see someone in the back has a question. We have 2 questions. Can we get a mic? Okay, awesome.
In terms of the value women bring to companies, emotional intelligence, just having that slight softer touch, which traditionally men who are leading businesses wouldn't have, because they're laser focused and driven. And my question is this: a lot of times women, especially the younger generation, are being told to go for it, to have that push, to have that drive. What would you say to them about not moving too far into having the drive, that they lose those softer touches that they bring that add value to companies?
I'm happy to get started, and I'll go back to authenticity. So just like embrace who you are. Like, some people are extremely like driven and go-getter and like independently from them for their gender. And if it's very easy for them to do, they should like absolutely like continue on that path. However, you should not force yourself to be who you are not. And I've seen extremely strong and inspirational women leaders, like VP, senior VPs, who are very soft. I mean, they leverage soft skills, they listen, and they're extremely powerful. leveraging these skills. So just like stay true to who you are. That would be my advice.
Amazing. Let's go. One more question to the gentleman behind.
To add one thing to the beautiful lady, I think leadership here is more like parenting. If you are the harsh parent, you lose your children and you'll not be able to guide them or direct them. But if you're soft and accommodating and including and listening to them, you'll bring the best out of them. So I think leadership and parenting are almost two faces of the same coin.
That's a great analogy.
Okay, so my question is, I think we have a great panel here. So my question is, if we have a team of tech in my team, and take an example, we don't have any woman, and now obviously we should have inclusion in the team. But apart from inclusion of women in the team, what are the other advantages that a team or a firm can have being having women in the team? So what are the advantages that we can expect? You be as part of the team, and what kind of benefits as for a firm or for a team will get if the woman is part of our team?
Maybe I can quickly answer that, because we work with tech companies, and it's funny because a lot of the founders are men, technical minded, created amazing product, and they just think so differently. They think tech. They don't speak the same language, and they come to us, and we take it out to market with our skill set. Women, as you guys mentioned, have this maybe more different social skills or different interpretation skills, different communication skills. And we go to market with, I've seen my team translate tech jargon to something the layman wants to hear. I think that's a skill set that women really bring to the table.
I'll tell you something. There's an assessment called Builder Profile 10. It's issued by Clifton. And they say in order to have any successful business, you have three types of skills. You need the expert, you need the rainmaker, and the coordinator. And it's proven that the coordinator is usually the person who arranges the work, the expert who knows the actual core business vertically, and the rainmaker who sells it. Usually men fall under the expert, women fall under the rainmaker and the coordinators. And the coordinators, because they have the multitasking element, and the rainmaker, they can sell you anything.
And I think it simply adds diversity of viewpoints, right? And it's not true just for women, it's true for any type of diversity, disabled people, people of color. So yeah, that's enough of a reason.
And I think what you're telling is to hire for the qualification rather than the gender. So it doesn't matter if you're hiring a man or a woman, just hire and give opportunity to the woman who's applying to be presented as a person of qualification, not as a gender being in the team.
Yeah, I just wanted to reinforce this. I think the diversity across all dimensions is really critical for a team. So you get all perspectives into your performance and your output. I was sitting with a client a couple of weeks ago, and he was saying that he wants to bring 0 to 12-year-old kids on his team because he's thinking about family products and things like this. So I think the more diverse the team, the more inclusive and the richer will be the output.
And Carole, you mentioned that bringing women into an industry presents an opportunity for the industry. So you can imagine diversifying your team with women, the opportunities that it can bring to your company and how far you may go after that.
Just like a closing phrase. That's in Cairo, we're in Egypt normally now, it's a basic thing that they're trying to have a woman, at least 2 women on each and every board. Of course, how to select which woman or whatever, it's based on her experience or how can she would give in the company. Banks were trying, the number are increasing in companies that they are not allowed to have all the regulators and every documents done unless they have 2 ladies on the board. It helps a lot. It makes a lot of difference, and it's working very well.
There's one more thing. Half of the clients of the fintech, of the customers, are women. So it's a huge segment there, and they're the one who are going to use this fintech. So it is important to bring within the team, this kind of understanding and knowledge also.
I just want to share one more thing before we close the panel.
I would like to
Can you
talk
please share what you just told me?
So we have the Misr for depository company that works with all the stocks in Egypt. The boards were all men. There were heads of banks or whatever. And when this law came out that they have to have at least a lady on the board, I applied to be there. My father was the governor for the central bank, and he was the person who created this idea between all the companies and the banks in Egypt in 1992. He passed away some time ago, but I felt that I really would like to join this company. I had to go to court because they said, I'm not competent. I don't understand stocks. I have no background. I have nothing of this, but still I worked very hard to be there. I really went to court. Yasmine and all my friends were women going there to support another woman. It was something very public, and I made it, and I got it, and I stayed there for the whole round. And really, the impact I did on that board changed a lot. And I still get the appreciation till today. And people who call me to join boards of insurance companies or something very different, they know that I'm going to have a different way. One of the things I made for the company that I insisted that we go they make a lot of money. All the companies for stock exchange, I made one motto. I said, we need to give money to the needy. I started giving money to the Ministry of Social Solidarity, for a hospital for burns, so many places. I got out a big percentage, and we agreed where would this money go to help the people in need in the country. It made a lot of difference. It made a better impact in the country.
Very interesting. I was reading an IMF report, and it was saying that fintech firms that have women in leadership make less money. So you can see, the dynamic. I mean, they're more socially oriented. They're more careful about, serving the society. So sometimes making less money makes a fintech actually more successful.
Why didn't we open up the panel like this? You should have mentioned, ladies and gentlemen, this is the first female of the board in Egypt of an exchange. And kudos to you, and kudos to your dad for promoting that. And time is up.
Before we go away, we have last two questions.
One more question. Okay.
Okay. So here we go.
No, hi. I just want to echo with the panel. Like, I'm from Bangladesh, and there the economy's major driver is the garments industry, where 80% are women workers. So with that, I just have a request to all the audience. Let's give a standing ovation to all these Wonder Women. So
thank you so much. Thank you everyone for your support. Thank you for listening in, and we're going to be around if you have any more questions.
Thank you.